question, and this is not sparked by anything you've said. It just kind of popped into my brain. Do you believe that the Week 5 debacle against the Titans, where the Cardinals were about to put the game away, Amari DiMarcado drops the ball, and then they have that weird, bizarre kick drill that gives the Titans the win, do you believe that that will have been the last time Kyler Murray wore an Arizona Cardinals uniform?
When they put him on IR, that's the first thing I thought was, this is it. Like, it's over. He's, again, I will go back to the fact that there's a lot of football to be played. Jacoby Brissett could absolutely faceplant at some point. And then, GM Monty Austin-Fort and head coach Jonathan Gannon are sitting there once again deliberating about, was this a referendum or not? The same way they deliberated about 2024 with Kyler. I will tell you this. I've gone through that franchise a couple of times the last, 2 years. And everything I heard from both Monty Austin-Fort and Jonathan Gannon about Kyler Murray is, we need him to take the next step. We're confident that he can. We need him to be healthy. We're confident that he can be healthy. And that's what's going to ultimately take this offense to the next level. I was talking to offensive coordinator Drew Petzing in the preseason, and Drew said to me, he said, look at the offense. We didn't change a lot of pieces. We basically have the same 2025. Our 2025 offense is our 2024 offense. But the growth you'll see, hopefully, is that Kyler will be healthy and take the step forward that we need in the scheme, and he will help to grow Marvin Harrison's game. Jacoby Brissett's done that. And that's, I think, why Jacoby Brissett is the starting quarterback the remainder of the season, or at least for the foreseeable future. And so, yeah, I believe, with an asterisk, a little caveat here, because everything always feels like, okay, November 6th, it's going to feel like this on December 6th and January 6th, and then it never does. I do think that they've grown beyond their red line of frustration with Kyler Murray and feel like there's got to be a change here at this point.
And look, nothing against Kyler Murray. I've always liked him. I think he's a good kid. He's genuine. He's incredibly talented. I admire anybody that plays in the NFL, especially when they are shorter than me. And I believed this before Marvin Harrison Sr. went scorched earth on the Cardinals in that ESPN.com article on Monday, because I think that had something to do with Marvin Jr. having a career-high 7 catches on Monday night. But I said early on, when it just didn't seem to be clicking between Kyler and Marvin Jr., can you imagine what Marvin Jr. is hearing from Marvin Sr. about Peyton Manning and how Peyton Manning worked and how Peyton Manning was obsessive? Right. I mean, Kyler Murray's a guy where they had to put a homework clause in his contract. They just didn't randomly pull that out. They didn't spin a wheel of stupid-ass contract clauses we can try to put in this. They had a reason for it, as misguided as it was. So when you're constantly hearing this is how determined and committed and demanding my quarterback was, I think that has a lot to do with this too.
Yeah, look, he's never going to escape the moment when Steve Keim's the general manager and we hear, hey, wait a minute, there's like work clauses, being written into his contract. And instantly when that gets out, all you think is, well, okay, there you go. It's the crux of the problem. Is the guy not working? Is he not spending time? We get into all the video game stuff. And ever since then, I think that's sort of that brain bug that gets in there and you can never get it out. But that's a great point about Marvin Harrison Sr., because one of the things that has always stuck out in my mind, anybody that played on those Colts teams, I remember I talked to Joseph Adai once. They had drafted him late in the first round years and years ago. And he told me the story about he gets a call from Peyton Manning the night he gets drafted. And he's thinking like, oh, cool. My new quarterback is calling to welcome me on the team. And he was like, Peyton wanted me on the practice field the next morning. He wanted me in the facility the next morning to basically, go out and do some drills on the field. I'm like, my God, that's like otherworldly. Like, you literally just get drafted and Peyton's like, can you get to town tomorrow? And we'll go through some reps on the field and get this moving. That's the expectation Marvin Harrison, Sr. had. I'm sure he puts that into his son, and then his son ends up in a situation where the big question about Kyler is how hard he works. So I'll ask you this, Mike. Do you think what is Kyler's value outside of the Arizona Cardinals? Because last year I had an AFC general manager tell me he still thought Kyler was a tradable commodity, that he still had the athletic profile, the arm talent was still worthy of a team actually investing a pick and trading him. I don't know that that's real anymore, but I do wonder what his value would be now if he was on the market.
I think that contributes to this awkward dance that the Cardinals are engaged in because they don't want to undermine a guy that they're going to be trying to trade. They don't want to get in a situation where they're going to have to eat $39 million minus 1.3 or whatever the minimum salary is going to be, like the Broncos had to do with Russell Wilson. So I don't know. And I know that there's a couple teams that I've heard that maybe he would be interested in. The Raiders, if Chip Kelly's still there. The Vikings, who wouldn't want to go to the Vikings if they're looking for a quarterback, and who knows whether they will be. There's still 9 games to be played this year, and there's a lot more that J.J. McCarthy needs to prove or not prove. But I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. He's getting older. He's got 1 playoff appearance in his career. The height is always going to be an issue. And when you start losing that explosiveness, and, you think about these great play designers like a Kevin O'Connell. They don't want a quarterback who's going to have an instinct to take off and run. They want a quarterback who's going to work through the play and make the play that's called operate. So it's going to be tough. And $19.5 million is the magic number on the 5th day of the 2026 league year. That is when the window will close on cutting him or trading him, because after that, they're on the hook. And I think it's one of the reasons why he's on IR. They're going to put him in bubble wrap, because if he can't pass a physical by the day that money comes due, boom, it's another $19.5 million. On top of the $39 they already owe him for next year. I think if they trade him, Charles, they're going to have to pay a big chunk of that amount. I don't think anybody's going to take on the $39 million and then give up, a third-round pick? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not going to be a blockbuster type of a deal or anything close to it.
Yeah, I mean, paying down part of the salary, I think, is an absolute must, particularly if you're trying to get third-round pick out of him, you're going to have to pay down a portion of that salary. So, and the suitors, again, are going to be very specific and small. I don't know if Chip Kelly's going to be a Las Vegas Raider in 2026. As much as he might want to go there, the way that offense is functioning right now, that might be off the table. Minnesota, I feel like every quarterback wants to get to Minnesota and Kevin O'Connell at this point. So he's going to have to get in line on that one. I'm sure Mac Jones is probably like, hey, if I'm not in San Francisco in 2026, I'd sure like to be in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell. He will not have the pick of the litter. That is certainly the reality. And I think the Monty Austinford, the GM there, has his work cut out for him.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.